Yeah, thought we had a good practice again tonight, and thought that our energy was up again. And again, I feel like we've improved, and I think the guys, I think the kids are into it, and we just got to polish some things up tomorrow and go out there and play hard Saturday. That's the bottom line. But two really good back-to-back practices, in my opinion, and again, focus is very high, and I think we improved.
Any decision on quarterback yet?
No, as I said before, we're going to look at the film tonight, and we'll make the decision. It won't be game time, but we haven't made a decision yet.
How have those guys taken it? I mean, have they been pretty understanding through the week?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any question that they're both focused and both into it, both into the plan. So is Jonathan Wallace, and it's been really, like I said, it's been really Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 3 good days of practice.
All 3 guys kind of getting some reps with the first team. Jonathan's still in his kind of.
Yeah, John is kind of, Jonathan's a little bit different, and more in his role, as we've said, and again, he's taking reps in that role, and he's improved.
Any word on Chris Davis' status?
Not yet. Again, I think that's, there's a couple guys like that it's going to be, it's going to be a little while.
D kind of the same way.
Exactly, same thing.
On the other side of that, obviously, Corey Grant looked like he was back Saturday. Is he good to go now? Is he back from injury, healthy, and part of your plans?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's healthy. I think this is probably the healthiest he's been. He's working in there some, but I would say overall, this is probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks as good health-wise as he's been since 2 days.
Anything else?
When you kind of go back and look at the offensive line, I guess when you've watched a little bit more of how they played on Saturday, what do you think kind of went wrong, or was there one thing? Or
well, as I said before, I think that there was, it's easy to look and say everything's the offensive line, but that's just not the way it is. Obviously, we need to play better on the offensive line. There's no question about that. But there's other things in there, and when you ask that question, I'm sure that you're referring to 8 sacks and things of that nature. But those aren't all on the offensive line. So, as I said before, some of that could be on quarterbacks, some of that could be on wideouts, some of that could be on the running backs. But we need them to play better. They got to step up, and they got to play much better than they did last week.
Do you have to try to get more guys involved defensively this week against a team like Ole Miss?
Well, that's with a team that's capable of running anywhere from 75 to 100 plays, and as fast as they go, that's definitely a possibility. You have to have guys to be able to get in there and substitute some. So we've worked that. We've worked the pace of the game, and we know that's important. But there's going to be some guys that are going to have to play a role in terms of depth, and so we've definitely addressed that.
You have to watch guys like Jake and Darren, especially because they played 85, 90 plays a couple times already this year.
They really have, and again, this is the 6th ball game, so they've played a lot of snaps up to this point. So obviously, that's more of a reason for young guys or other guys to be able to step up in there and play.
Ole Miss has obviously a long losing streak in the SEC, but from this season, it seems like they're improving. What's the perception of Ole Miss in the SEC West right now as it stands? I
think that the perception is that they're a really, really good football team. I don't think there's any question. You can go back to last week playing a very good A&M team. They had a lot of chances to win the game and played well against Alabama. I think every week when you look at them, you can see the improvement that would come with, a new offense, that's really kind of based on tempo, and you can see they're getting it, the quarterback's getting it. And I know they played a couple of different quarterbacks, but it looks like they've settled in, to what they want to do. But I don't think anybody's going to look at them and think this is not a good football team, because it is. As you've seen it on film this week, what is it specifically that they're doing better than a year ago in the league? Well, it's just a whole different idea. It's a whole offensively, just a completely different idea and identity than what they were last year. So, again, high tempo, a lot of plays, a lot of reps, a lot of deception. You know what I mean? And a lot of things that when you have a pace that fast and you do as many things as they do, that can get receivers open, and not to mention the running game too. You know, there's just a lot of things that can go wrong if you try to do too much. So they are very sound, getting better, and I think they're growing with a lot of confidence. I think anybody that watches their offense would be able to agree with that.
Gene, we've talked a lot about the offensive game plans. In your 3 SEC games, you guys have been tied or trailing for the vast majority of it. Does that affect the way that the game plan unfolds during the course of the
Are you talking about we've been playing up through 3 quarters and it's a
You've
very
been playing you only led for 15 minutes in 3 SEC games.
Right.
Does that affect the way that, once you get into the game, the way
Sure,
you plays?
sure. I think, the circumstances of every game, you go in with a plan with anything, offensively and defensively. And the circumstances that happen during the game obviously affect, how you play and how you call things. And so, every game unfolds a little differently. But it certainly has an effect on, again, you have a base plan and this is how you want to proceed, but it doesn't always necessarily go in that direction depending on what happens. So that changes it.
You guys have only scored first in one of your games. As cliche as it is, how important is that?
I think it's very important. I think it's very important when you play on the road as well. But you always want to score first, and you don't want the other guys to score at all. But it's very important. That's a momentum thing, that's a confidence thing, and it's very important to get off to a fast start.
Vontae Segal got played a little bit last week. Is he making some progress?
Who is that?
Vontae Segal.
He's making a little bit of progress. Again, he was hurt for a while there, and he's trying to recover, and he's in a better place health-wise, but he's making some baby steps.
It sounds like Avery Young and Patrick Miller, the 2 guys in right tackle, that have been competing for that job on the depth chart. Is Sean Coleman are all in that mix?
Well, he's working in there a good bit, and he's really, really working hard. There's still some challenges of him overcoming, some of the health things and getting back into football. And that is certainly a little bit of a hurdle of his still. But, boy, he works hard every day, and he's really trying to improve. It takes a lot of reps every day. And I've seen some improvement. But he'll continue to do that. And, again, he's a backup guy that, if you have to play him, then he's, every day working in the direction of trying to improve so that if that did occur, he could get on the field.
How about Christian Westerman's progress?
Again, he's banged up, and, he's not going to be dressing out this week. So slowly but surely.
Who would be I guess, the guy in the guard? Would Tunde kind of go in and play there if you needed somebody inside?
Well, you gotta be able to take a John Sullivan and put him at center, or take a Tunde and put him at guard. There's just some guys in there. We've even taken Greg Robinson some and put him down in the guard. Just you gotta mix and match in there just in case something like that happens. So we're preparing for it. It's not something that we practice long on, but you got to be able to do it. You got to be able to, if a disaster, breaks out health-wise, you got to be able to have somebody down in there. So we've prepared for it, but those are mainly the guys that we move down in there.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.